All right, here we go. Islam Moors, all meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I want to ask that all Moors who are able to please rise and face the east as we recite the Moorish American prayer, standing facing the east with our heels together, feet at a 45-degree angle, holding up 2 fingers on the right and 5 on the left. Please repeat after the sister. Allah. Allah. Father of the universe. The Father of the universe. Father of love. The Father of love. Truth. Truth. Peace. Peace. Freedom. Freedom. And justice. And justice. Allah is my protector. Allah is my protector. My guide. My guide. My salvation. And my salvation. By night and by day. By night and by day. Through his holy prophet. Through his holy prophet. Drew Ali. Drew Ali. Amen. Amen. All right, Islam. All right, peace and love, Moors. I want to announce that this meeting is now open. This is the Moorish Science Temple of America, Temple 30, Columbus, Ohio. First and foremost, I rise giving the highest praise to the Most High, our Creator, Sustainer, our Father God, Allah. I extend honors to our divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine creed and nationality so that we may learn to love instead of hate. I extend honors also to the forerunner to the prophet, our brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey, for preparing the way for purity and love. And I extend honors to the Moorish and the American flags. I extend honors also to the Charter and its 10 wonders. And I extend honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh appointed by the prophet, Brother E. Millie Ill. I extend honors to all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And I extend honors to the Supreme Grand Sheikh, Brother Kenu Bey. And I extend honors also to the Supreme Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam Moors, Brother Jackson Bey, if you are able to, please read our divine constitution and bylaws.
Islam Grand Sheikh, I rise giving all praise to Allah, honor to the Prophet Jurali, honor to the forefathers and foremothers, and honor to the Asiatic nations and the Muslims all over the world. Salvation, Allah, unity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the divine constitution and bylaws. Act 1, the Grand Sheikh and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce law with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs as he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2, all means are to be open and closed promptly according to Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4, all members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live a life accordingly. Act 5, this organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with four necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband, take care of your children, and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds filled with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, to the guidance of his father, God Allah. Noble Jew Ali, founder, Moorish American Prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Juwali, Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office, Noble Juwali, home office, Chicago, Illinois, USA, Islamism. Happy Holy Day.
Islam and gratitude, brother. All right, brother Kobe, would you please read our writs?
Islam, Grand Sheikh. Arise and give praise to the great God Allah. Rise and give honor to the Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Rise and give honor to the forerunner Marcus Messiah Garvey. Rise and give honor to all ills and babes, all Muslims on the call and on the planet. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know I have a few faithful Moors amongst you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claimed that I was a joke and unreal. But now since they found out from the government officials of the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that pay the divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to meet your prophet and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nation of the world will not recognize the movement without either prophet being head. It has been proven by my works which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, Noble Jew Ali. The members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is instructions from your prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefather, divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is on now. But the weak can comprehend it not. Then the times are drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Jew Ali. And that is why many hearts have turned to stone. Many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest there be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours, my dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temple. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their home, or on the street. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card to Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their rewards from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Jew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans. They do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. Noble Jew Ali. Islam, Islam, Islamism. Happy Holy Day, Ma.
Islam, brother. Gratitude. Sister Law Shay L, would you please read our additional laws?
Islam. I rise and give all praise to the great Father God Allah. I give honors to the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to the forerunner Marcus Messiah Garvey. And I give honors to all Muslims on the call and all Muslims around the world. Questionary and additional laws for the Moorish Americans by the Prophet. Temples, all business. Each said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Before acting upon by any members, let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the members to sacrifice finance, etc., that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the prophet or the grand sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their adept meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second, he will be fined $1, which will go in your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish uplifting funds, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation, and if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I would have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while up making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must conform himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national names to be recognized by the government in which they live in the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meeting and become a part and a parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Islam. Happy Holy Day, Muslims.
Gratitude, sister. All right, Islam Moors. I want to thank everybody for attending today. We're going to be in chapter 9 in the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. But before we do that, I just want to speak on a few things real briefly. So if you'll notice, or some of you may have already seen this, of course, Trump is the president-elect, right? He won the election. One of the first things they announced, and I think it's really interesting, was that he's going to appoint this guy, Robert Kennedy, to be one of the directors of health or the Department of Health, maybe over the Department of Health. And one of the very first things they said was they're going to remove fluoride from the water, right? And I thought that was interesting because, there are people in this country that live in America that
Bro, AD's back in Miami, Florida.
Join the meeting.
I just wanted to let that finish speaking. So there are people right here in America right now that drink water that doesn't have fluoride in it, right? Because they get their own water source, they secure their own community, they get their own electricity, they get the things that they need for themselves, right? And I'm not just talking about the Amish or the Mennonite communities, but there's other people, different people, and probably in every state. Doesn't matter if you're in Alaska, Florida, right, Texas, Ohio. There are people that have their own communities and they take care of themselves, right? So, it's nice to hear that, oh, they're going to take fluoride out of the water, but it didn't even affect them because they get their own water, right? They do the things that they need for themselves. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I just wanted to speak on this really quickly because, in general, maybe there's some of our people, right? So-called Black people, so-called African Americans who do have their own communities. I don't know. We've spoken on Islamberg in New York, but, just in general, generally speaking, our people are very, very, very dependent on pale-skinned Europeans. Very dependent. The only way we would get fluoride out of our water is if somebody just decides to do the right thing, right? We're very dependent on others. Very dependent on others. We really do have to come in. As the prophet said, we have to return to our own vine and fig tree. This isn't a game. It really isn't. We have to give up these ways that we've been carrying on and that we've been conditioned to do. And we really do have to return the church and Christianity back to the European, right? And then come into Islam for our earthly and divine salvation. There's no other way around it. Now, as we come into Islam, it's brought to us by the prophet, in its pure form. We come into a system where we have to do for ourselves, right? The prophet mandated that we all support our temple, right? We all contribute to the dues and uplifting fund. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, of course, if somebody's, lost their job or something like that, yeah, that's different. But, communicate, follow up, because the prophet set it up and established it, which the Moors, even in 2024, are still doing, where the dues aren't a big burden. They're not a huge burden on anyone, right? And we have to do it because we have to be able to take care of ourselves. We want to be independent so that no matter what's going on, right, we're good. Because they put more than fluoride in the water. And that's just one example. That's not really going to speak on all the other stuff going on, but we want to be able to do for ourselves, right? We want to be able to take care of ourselves and put our best foot forward to build the type of communities that we need, right? And we know that no one else is going to do it for us. So at least come in, support the temple, and be consistent, right? Working with it to uplift, to, to make and create a better society for ourselves and our families. Just understanding, no, I'm not over here like, hey, let's all put our eggs in the Trump basket. Let's all put our eggs over here. We can't count on anyone. We truly can't, because everybody else has their own agenda. So we're supposed to be working on ours. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time on it, but I just wanted to say that real quickly because we have to also remain aware of this, condition that our people are in, and make sure that we're not carrying on these same Negro tactics, this same Negro, black, colored, African American mind state. We have to start thinking of doing for ourselves. And in doing that, we know that the temple's not going to grow unless we make it grow. Knowing that we're not going to have our own city, town, or state unless we make that happen. Okay? Because Allah is unfolding within us. Just the fact that you're here means that you know something's going on and that you have to take charge of the situation. And so you're here, so you can't quit. You got to stick with it and make it happen. There's no other options. Okay? And so let's go ahead and move on though. We're going to be in chapter 19 today. We're talking about the resurrection of Jesus and also the divine potential of man. That's what this long, super long title means. This is what this chapter is really about. Jesus appears fully materialized to the Eastern sages in the palace of Prince Ravana in India, to the Magian priest in Persia, to the three wise men speak in praise of the personality of the Nazarene. So he's going all over, right? He goes to Asia, he goes to India, he goes to Africa, he goes to Europe. And all of these lessons are in here because the Prophet Noble Drew Ali deemed it important and essential to the true mission, which is the upliftment of fallen humanity. And that really means, because obviously we have to uplift ourselves, unfolding Allah within. That's what all this is about. Anybody who's thinking, I don't need these lessons, you probably need it more than anyone else because you're not even humble enough to realize like you can grow. We all can grow. Know thyself in Allah. Who can be against that? Know thyself and thy Father God Allah. Do this work, right? Do this work so that we can unfold the Creator within, so that we can unify with the higher self, so that there can be no oppression. You can't oppress the higher self. You can't oppress Allah. You can't oppress God or God and man. It can't be done, right? We cannot suffer. We cannot lose out here, right? We're in control once the higher self is in its proper state. So that's what we're doing here. And that's why we set aside the holy day to make sure no matter what we're doing throughout the week, right? No matter what we're doing, we making sure that we're on the right path. So let's go ahead and go into this. And instead of just reading the verses, we want to touch on what is really being said here, what's really being taught. We want to get the deeper message. And I say that because, on a surface level, there's a message, but also deeper within the scriptures, there's a spiritual message, a metaphysical message that speaks to everyone, right? It speaks to people regardless of what their ethnicity is. It's actually a universal message for all humans. Okay. So Islam Moors, let's go ahead and get started. Ravana, Prince of India gave a feast. His palace in Orissa was the place where men of thought from all the farther east were wont to meet. Ravana was the prince with whom the child Jesus went to India with when 12 years old. The feast was made in honor of the wise men of the East. And just pausing real quick. Now, this is in here. All of this whole chapter is in here because it's showing for us, or it's emphasizing the power, the transformative power of this resurrection of spirit. And it's showing not the divine potential just of Jesus, but of all men, right? Jesus is setting an example, right, for all of us to walk in those footsteps. A message that most of us weren't getting in the church. Maybe you were lucky enough to be in a church where the preacher was telling you the truth. Oh yeah, you're all sons of God. But I wasn't. We didn't get that message. They would just, oh, he's the son of God, right? So we're getting the message, the truth, because when we start to walk in these footsteps, right, now all men can attain this spiritual elevation that's being demonstrated. So I'm gonna stop at verse 10 and just speak on this. But going back in here, verse 3, the feast was made in honor of the wise men of the East. Among the guests were MSTA, Vidyapati, and Lamas. The wise men sat about the table talking of the needs of India and the world. The door unto the banquet hall was in the east. A vacant chair was at the table to the east. As the wise men, remember, we turn to the east, right, when we pray. And then the prophet also is quoted saying that, wisdom comes from the east. And as the wise men talked, a stranger entered unannounced and raising up his hands in benediction said, all hail. A halo rested on his head, and light, unlike the light of sun, filled all the room. And Jesus sat down in the vacant chair. And then the wise men knew it was the Jewish prophet who had come. All right, so I'm going to pause right there. So Jesus is now coming to Ravana's palace, right, in India. And there's an empty chair in the east. And what does that mean? Because remember, it's not about what happened way back then. It's not like we just telling bedtime stories. This has meaning for you and me right here, right now. So if we're looking at it like this, the deeper meaning, the empty chair in the east is representing the ever-present spiritual call, right? Always. And the readiness to receive divine wisdom because it's there. It's not like there's no chair sitting there, right? So this is always there. Just like Allah, our higher self is always there. The answer is always there. We may be struggling to figure things out. We might be going through all types of things in life, but we're struggling because we're working at it from our lower self. We're struggling because we're working from the disconnection to Allah when the answer is always right there, right? Divine inspiration, right? Just even in learning, practicing meditation and things like this so that we can start to strengthen our own connection to our own true self, which is spirit, which is one with Allah. And as we do that, now we start to receive divine inspiration throughout the day, which is leading us to that which is probably greater for us than what we even are thinking of for ourselves. So we want to begin to tap into this, right? We want to make space in our lives for spiritual insight. How do we make space in our lives for spiritual insight? Because you got that vacant chair at the table to the east. How do we make that vacant chair always there so that this divine, higher self can walk in and lead the way? How do we do that? What's one example? What's something that we always say here that we need to be doing at least once a day, but ideally at least 3 times a day? And then we can do it 3 times a day. Shoot, why not 5? We want to make meditation prayer a daily practice. All right. And I understand why. Can you please mute? I understand why for Muslims all over the world, it's like it's a requirement. Hey, pray at this time. Pray at this time. You know, make sure you're doing it 5 times a day. Right? I understand because you're trying to get people into that regimen of doing it. And people need instruction, or they're not gonna do it. Right? But you know, we're the prophet blessed us. He's given us understanding of why we're doing it. We're doing this to open up that vessel, to open it up so that higher self can come through. Divine inspiration, right? Divine wisdom. And so one way we can leave that vacant chair in the east, all right, is by making it a daily practice, right? Praying. Okay. And in praying, I just say meditate. You know, it's actually a way of praying, right? But I say, you know, meditating, quieting the mind throughout the day, breathing, closing your eyes, cutting out distractions, and making this a daily practice. Why are we doing this? Because we want to quiet that monkey mind, that lower self, that carnal body of desires. We want to shut it up and make this a regular practice, you know, so that we can receive divine inspiration. Moving on. Let me say one more thing about that too. So we also want to strengthen that connection so that for us, you know, connecting to the creator is something that we do easily. And that the banquet hall, right? Just in coming into the banquet hall, that's a spiritual gathering place. What are they doing? The wise men, right? They're in there discussing the needs of India and the world, right? And they all have they have that vacant chair there because these are wise men. They're prepared to receive divine wisdom. So that's significant that the chair is facing the east because that's their readiness to embrace enlightenment, right? They recognize Jesus when he comes in, the prophet, right? And so the east is just always like when the prophet is saying it, from the east comes the light. The east is traditionally associated with light, right? Not just because, oh, yeah, the sun rises because this is the way the earth spins or whatever you believe, right? No. Just in general, when you hear that, speaking of the east, just understand that that's symbolic, right, of light and spiritual awakening, and that, you know, preparing to be able to receive divine inspiration, divine wisdom. This is something that we all want to do as Moorish Americans, right? If we're doing this, there's not going to be any incidents where, oh man, I messed up, I beat my girl, I'm about to go to jail, right? We're not going to have those things happen because we're making it a daily practice to connect to the higher self. So that even if we do find ourselves in an ignorant situation, maybe somebody trying to fight, trying to cause something that's going to make things snowball out of control, guess what? You made it a practice of connecting to higher self. You're just going to walk away from that situation instead of feeling like, oh, my ego, I gotta go mess my life up. It's not going to happen. Right? It's not going to happen because we're connecting to higher self. So this is really important. This is why, you know, this is why we had the holy day and the Sunday schools. Like, man, you can't ignore this stuff, man. None of us can afford to ignore this, right? It could, you know, be the meaning, you know, difference between life and death, ignoring this stuff. So going on to verse 11, and Jesus said, behold, I am risen from the dead. Look at my hands, my feet, my side. The Roman soldiers pierced my hands and feet with nails, and then one pierced my heart. They put me in a tomb, and then I wrestled with the conqueror of men. I conquered death. I stamped upon him and arose. brought immortality to light, and painted on the walls of time a rainbow for the sons of men. And what I did, all men shall do. He didn't say, I'm the one, right? All men shall do. This gospel of the resurrection of the dead is not confined to Jew and Greek. It is the heritage of every man of every time and clime. And I am here, a demonstrator of the power of man, right? Once again, the divine potential of man, right? Jesus revealing the resurrection, right? And then this conquering of death. There's a spiritual meaning to that, right? It's, more so, instead of overcoming physical death, it's more so overcoming material limitations. For outside of this, for your own study, I would say look in the Quran, the Holy Koran of Mecca. Go to Surah 75. Read specifically verses 3 and 4 in Surah 75, right? The resurrection and the power of Allah. Now, in a metaphysical sense, resurrection means not rising from the dead. It means a rise in spiritual consciousness. We should know this because, a lot of people say, okay, the mentally dead, right? And so, period. When you wake up, right? That's the resurrection. So that's a rise in spiritual consciousness. And of course, there's daily habits that we can do that can bring us closer to divine consciousness, which is what we just were talking about. So we want to make sure that we are participating in these daily practices, working on ourselves, because ultimately that's what it's all about. So when Jesus is revealing his resurrection, right, saying, I conquered death, we understand metaphysically that death is not just the physical mortality, but it's the limitations of material consciousness, right? And these limitations are the things like fear and ignorance and doubt, right? So this victory is signifying the divine life, right? Which is eternal and it's accessible to all. We can overcome these limitations, each and every one of us, right? And in Surah 75 and verses 3 and 4, it's stating that Allah has power over all things, including the resurrection. So the ability to bring life from death, that's all of our potential to overcome spiritual stagnation, right? And then remember that resurrection, that's the elevation of our soul's consciousness from the material to the divine. Remember, the truth is divine. The truth does not change or pass away. So that means this whole material realm is actually falsehood. Okay? Not saying that it doesn't have a purpose, that it's not here for a reason, just saying now we're waking up, we're realizing our true potential, our true selves, right? So awakening to spiritual truths, and now we can live them. We can live in this truth. Now we can accomplish much more. Now we can realize our true potential, right? Remember, we're all supposed to eventually be the strength of Allah made manifest. It wasn't just Jesus that's supposed to do that. That's on each and every one of us. So verse 16, then he arose and pressed the hand of every man and of the royal host and said, behold, I am not made of the fleeting winds, for I am flesh and bone and brawn, but I can cross the borderland at will. And then they talked together for a long, long time. Then Jesus said, I go my way, but you shall go to all the world and teach the gospel of the omnipotence of men, the power of truth, the resurrection of the dead. He who believes this gospel of the Son of Man shall never die. The dead shall live again. So the omnipotence of man, right? Right. The gospel of spiritual immortality, right? And this is speaking about how we can live with this awareness of our own eternal spiritual nature. Remember, once again, there's no disconnect as we've been taught. We've been taught, oh, Jesus is up there, right? But he's showing that this is the message, or the actually the task that all of us have to do to realize the omnipotence of man. Do we know what omnipotent means? Islam, brother Davis L. Can we get a good definition for omnipotence? I'm going to keep moving if you're able to, right? If I'm going to keep moving, but let me know if you can get a definition for us. So the omnipotence of man, and this is the message to the wise men. This is what Jesus is bringing for all of us. Jesus is emphasizing that the gospel of the resurrection doesn't just apply to him. That applies to all humanity, and irrespective of cultural background, genetics, where you're from, not up here like some people might try to down some people, certain people. We don't do that. This is for all humans, right? So this is actually really is about uplifting fallen humanity. And his words, the power of truth and the resurrection of the dead. This is calling us to understand that this spiritual immortality transcends our earthly existence. It goes beyond that, beyond what we even understand. So if we're living in the awareness of our divine nature, now we're living fearlessly. There is no fear. There's no fear. There's no lack. There's no limitation. We understand that our true essence cannot actually be harmed. It can't really be limited, right? Not by physical circumstances. And so this is the call for all of us to embody and to come into these qualities, having the strength, having compassion and truth at all times, like living this truth. This is the real reality, so that even if, something is overtaking you where you're technically body sick, right? We understand we can't really be sick. And now having this mind state, we can overcome that. Where somebody else would die, they would suffer and then die. We can overcome it, right? Be you renewed by your own thoughts. By your own thoughts. And so we can do this. Islam, brother, we have omnipotence, quality of being in all places simultaneously. 1600, from medieval Latin, omnipresentia, from omnipresens, present everywhere. From Latin, omnis, all, every. All right, presens, present. So omnipotent, excuse me, omnipotence, right? Being everywhere. So the omnipotence of man, meaning we have capabilities, qualities, capacities that we don't even understand, that we haven't even begun to tap into. This may sound too out there for people because we don't even know we don't even believe this is possible, right? But it is. And so this is what the prophet is working to bring out, and it's greater than what most people are thinking of. Bro, you're thinking too small. I just came here to get that paperwork. What paperwork? What paperwork? You're thinking too small. We have higher capacities than we even understand. This is what we tapping into, to be the strength of Allah made manifest. Okay? So, you can have that paperwork. Then Jesus disappeared, but he had sown the seed. The words of life were spoken in Orissa, and all of India heard. The Magian priests were in the silence of Persepolis and Caspar, and the Magian masters, who were first to greet the child of promise in the shepherd's home in Bethlehem, were the priests. And Jesus came and sat with them. A crown of light was on his head. And when the silence ended, Caspar said, "A master from the royal council of the silent brotherhood is here. Let us give praise." And all the priests and masters stood and said, "All hail." "What message from the royal council do you bring?" And Jesus said, "My brothers of the silent brotherhood, peace, peace on earth, goodwill to men." The problem of the age has been solved. A son of man, risen from the dead, has shown that human flesh can be transformed into flesh divine. Before the eyes of men, this flesh in which I come to you was changed with the speed of light from human flesh. And so I am the message that I bring to you. To you, I come, the first of all the race to be transmuted to the image of Allah. What I have done, all men will do, and what I am, all men shall be. But Jesus said no more. In one short breath, he told the story of his mission to the sons of men, and then he disappeared. The Magi said, some time ago, we read this promise, now fulfilled upon the dial of heaven. And then we saw this man who had just demonstrated unto us the power of man to raise from carnal flesh and blood to flesh of Allah, a babe in Bethlehem. And after many years, he came and sat with us in these same groves. He told the story of his human life of trials, sore temptations, buffeting, and woes. He pressed along the thorny way of life till he had risen and overthrown the strongest foes of Allah and man. And he is now the only master of the race whose flesh has been transmuted into flesh divine. He is the God-man of today. But everyone on earth shall overcome and be like him, a son of Allah. Every man of earth shall overcome and be like him, a son of Allah. These events occurred before he was 30 years of age, and the events after he had risen from the dead. He appeared back to India, Europe, and Africa in the land of Egypt and made himself known to the world. These events are the 18 years which are absent in your Holy Bible. Going back to this, Jesus is appearing to the Magi, the Magian priests. He's speaking about the transformation of human flesh into flesh divine. He's speaking about our spiritual journey, right? It's not just talking about himself. This is for all of us. So flesh divine, right? It's the embodiment of spiritual power and harmony. That's flesh divine, right? And so once again, you know what we want to get from this. If we're not getting this, then it's not empowering us. We want to embody these spiritual teachings in our daily interactions. We want to be able to use this on a daily basis because that's the only way it's actually empowering us. It's actually doing anything for us. It's not about reading this stuff, right? It's about actually using this. So each of these lessons in here, this is a universal message. It goes beyond cultural and different religions, boundaries. It goes beyond all that. This is a universal message for all of us. So, pardon. Jesus is he's saying that the human flesh can be transformed into flesh divine. That's a powerful statement because in that he's teaching that this spiritual journey, right? It's about refining our character and then transcending our baser instincts. And while we do this, now we're living in harmony with divine principles. So it's about overcoming, pardon. It's about overcoming our own carnal nature, right? Transcending our baser, lower instincts. And this is, you know, it's a job that we do just little by little, piece by piece, just by being consistent. We start to transcend things like things that we feel like we have to do. I got to do this. I got to do this every week, every day. But I really don't. You know what I'm saying? But we feel like we have to do it. It's making me high. It's making me whatever, right? We can actually transcend those things. And as we do that, we realize there's more to us than meets the eye. There's far more. You have far more potential than you even realize. We all do, right? So this divine flesh is really referring to this expression of God consciousness, the perfect expression of God consciousness within us, within each and every one of us. And when we come into that, there's the realization we're not bound by our human limitations. We're capable of manifesting divine wisdom and power. We don't have limitations. We actually don't have limitations. And the magi that are in here, the Magian priests, these are spiritual masters, right? They talking like they've been waiting for the fulfillment of this promise of resurrection. So Jesus' presence is, among them is showing that spiritual truth that he embodied was meant to uplift and inspire all who seek enlightenment. It wasn't a message just for a few, right? It's for all. And so the message, once again, of Jesus is universal. It's not about some historical event that may or may not have happened. Anybody who's trying to come at that level, oh, Jesus wasn't a real person. Oh, you not that smart, brother or sister, whoever you, it's like, come on, it's not really about that. That is a limited way of looking at this. You got a message this for all of humanity, this unveiling spiritual, wisdom and potential that we all have, and want to harp on little things that don't even matter. It's not about something that may have happened in the past, right? This is an eternal truth that the Spirit of God within us can never be extinguished. It doesn't matter how low we've fallen. It doesn't matter that we forgot everything. It doesn't matter that we sagging our pants now, right? It doesn't matter that we, whatever we doing now, God is still within us, right? So nothing can take that away, no matter how far we've fallen. And so all the trials, all the hardship, all of these things aren't things to shame someone about, to make someone feel bad. Oh, you went through this, you went through that. No, these were all things that are opportunities for spiritual growth, opportunities for transformation. So everything you've gone through, if you had it worse than anyone, that's not for someone to shame you. That means that you're going to overcome this. And it's all of these things were just chances for you to grow and to demonstrate and to be the strength of Allah made manifest. That's what it's all about. So it's not about feeling bad about, anything that we've been through or done in the past, right? It's about the growth and the transformation. So this is what this whole demonstration is about, the, resurrection from the dead, the growth, the transformation. So this whole chapter, right, is calling on us to believe in our divine potential and now to act upon this belief. Act like you have divine potential. Act like, by now seeing ourselves as the reflection of Allah's power, right? Because remember that we're all to be the strength of Allah may manifest. Now we're capable of overcoming any obstacle, just by having that faith and that spiritual awareness, knowing our true nature, who we really are. And in doing that, now we have unlimited potential. And so we want to have practical measures so that we can apply this on a daily basis. We always going to say this. This is never going to stop. We need to start praying throughout the day. I recommend meditation, right? Daily meditation and also reflection. We want to spend time each day in meditation. Listen, no one's trying to tell you this. And everyone needs to hear this. The children, the teenagers, everybody needs to hear this. No one's trying to tell you this, especially right now. Right now, they're pushing distractions. Hey, get on your phone. Be on your phone all day. Put a screen in your face. Be distracted. Oh, there's so many videos out here. So YouTube, Netflix, all this stuff. There's so much content. Content. That's distraction. Be distracted. Don't even think about tapping into your true potential. Don't even meditate for 1 second. Don't quiet your mind at all. That's what the world is telling all of us, regardless of what you look like. That's what it's telling everyone, because all of these people have potential. So it's telling you to, instead of spending just a little bit of time, because that's how, amazing Allah is, that we just a little bit of time, just meditate for like 10 minutes and do it consistently. And you will be amazed by what you are unfolding within you. Right? That's the truth. So the lower self, right, is telling us the opposite, to be distracted, to tap into all this content that's out there, had a screen in your face, right, to be distracted with all these things and to be a mess, be all over the place, right? So we want to spend some time each day in meditation. We want to contemplate on the divine light that's within, right? We want to visualize that light, because this is how we can now dissolve all the fears, all the doubt, all the material distractions. And then when we do that, we're allowing our divine essence now to shine through. So we want to reflect on that. Jesus' resurrection, that's a metaphor for our own spiritual awakening. That applies to each and every one of us. We want to, that I also spoke about affirmations, right? Affirmations are good. We can use affirmations to reinforce our own divine nature. Why do we need to do that? Because, dude, has anyone ever stopped just for a minute and paid attention to the thoughts that's coming through your head? Right? Because sometimes when you do that, you realize, man, there's a lot of fear and lack in there, right? It's a lot of negative stuff that's coming through. Sometimes it's coming out of other people's mouths, but sometimes it's coming out of our own head, right? So affirmations are good to use. You don't even have to speak them out loud, but just like in your head, right? Just affirmations, like if you're telling yourself you're a reflection of divine love and power, if you're telling yourself that you rise above all challenges with grace and faith. So now when you have a challenge, when something messed up happens, right? You rise above all challenges with grace and faith. If you're telling yourself this on a regular basis, if you're repeating these words daily, you're shifting your consciousness from a material to a spiritual perspective. This is what we want to do. This is the leaving the empty chair in the east. We're leaving that chair in the east so that this divine inspiration can come through. If we're not doing that, forget all this. Don't even come to Holy Day, because it's like it's not doing nothing for you. If we're not, if we're not trying to use this to actually change ourselves, because ultimately that's what it's about. You're supposed to be transforming your flesh from, regular old raggedy, funky human flesh to flesh divine, right? This ain't like what we was given in the church. Jesus did it. Just Jesus. That ain't doing nothing for no one. Here, eat this cracker and drink this grape juice. What is that? Drink his blood. What is that? That's weird. What is that doing for any of? So we all participating in these rituals and stuff. What is it doing for anyone? Right? Nothing. So now we want to do this change for real, but it's not something that you're doing out here for everyone. No, doing it for ourselves, right? So like that's why I was saying about the affirmations. Now, if we're telling yourself that you're a reflection of divine love and power, right, on a regular basis, you're now changing the way you're thinking. We're shifting our consciousness. If you rise above all challenges with grace and faith, and you're doing this on a daily basis in your mind, now when challenges come up, you don't go where most people go, which is to fear and lack, and makes it worse. They make it worse for themselves without even realizing it. Why? What is it? What did Jesus tell the common people at the spring? He said that, Allah never made a heaven nor a hell. We're creators and making our own fortune, right? We create our own heaven and hell with our thoughts. So that means that we have to change our thoughts. How do we raise our thoughts up to divine wisdom? This is how we do it, Morris. And it don't just happen all at once. We have to do this on a regular basis to undo the years and years of having this, negative way of thinking. So as we're rising above challenges with grace and faith, And this is what you tell yourself on a regular basis when the challenges come up. Oh, it's nothing. I rise above all challenges with grace and faith. So when it comes up, you got it. You're gonna overcome it. You're gonna be the strength of Allah made manifest, because this is what you're calling on. When we do the Moorish American prayer, what aspects of Allah are we calling on? We're calling on guidance. We're calling on protection and salvation at all times, by night and day, right? So that's another affirmation. We do this to call upon these aspects of Allah, whether it's coming through us or coming through the people around us, it's going to come through because we're making it a part of our everyday life. So we want to overcome these challenges with spiritual awareness. Whenever a difficult situation comes in, we got to look at Jesus' example, right? The challenges now, we approach them with this mindset of victory, spiritual victory. They're opportunities to demonstrate our own divine potential. So when it comes up, it's like, instead of, feeling angry, instead of feeling fear, we responded with love. We responded with wisdom. We're embodying the truth, because the truth is we're greater than any earthly circumstance. So this is what we have to tap into. Yes, we have to do the work. They don't just come through and just do it for us. Who's going to come through and do it for us anyway, right? So we have to do the work, and living in alignment with our divine principles. That means serving others selflessly. We want to make it a practice to perform these small acts of kindness each day, because those are manifestations of our divine nature. And these are things that we all have to work on, because it's like, hey, somebody might really be hurting, and they might even be doing worse than us. And maybe they're just asking for a few dollars. They're actually homeless or something. We don't want to be petty minded. Like, nah, look another way. We have to change our whole mind state. And in changing our whole mind state, it changes our whole reality, right? Because now, instead of being beggars and takers, we're givers. We're providers, right? So, just wanted to speak on that and just, look at ways that we can actually use these lessons and apply it into our life to improve and to actually be the strength of Allah made manifest. When we look at the teachings too, and they actually do line up with the Holy Koran of Mecca, right? And we could, with the Bible, all the scriptures, actually, all the true teachings, they all line up because they're all giving us that same message, even though we weren't given the whole truth, even though, things were held back from us. The truth was actually there the whole time, right? And that's always the case. And one other thing too, the way that we were taught, or at least I'm assuming all of us or most of us, in church, we were taught, Jesus is up there. He's the Son of God, and that's for him. But we weren't taught that actually we're all sons of the Creator. We're all, Allah manifested in the flesh, each and every one of us, right? That wasn't, being openly taught, but that was the truth the whole time, right? That as Jesus said, even in this chapter, that all of us will do the things that he's done. So this was a universal message for each and every one of us, right? And so with the prophet revealing this to us, to get us out of the schisms that, that we put in, they weren't really there to empower us, to help us realize our true potential. So he's bringing these lessons to us so that we can begin to come in and realize our true potential. And now we don't need someone to come and do any of these things for us. We don't need Donald Trump to have them take the fluoride out of the water, because we can create our own cities, towns. We have our own water that we control, and nobody else, you know what I'm saying? We're not looking to anybody else to take care of us, right? But in order to do that, we have to truly come in and change our whole mindset. We have to go from, depending on others to now really being independent, right? And this message was actually in, as I was saying before, it was in all the scriptures in the Bible. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19, it says, "Know ye not that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit?" In 2 Corinthians 6, verse 16, it says, "For we are a temple of the living God." For we are a temple of the living God. Right? Remember, the lessons that we have are about unfolding Allah in man. And so this message has always been there. It just wasn't being revealed to the people. People were distorting it. People were not understanding it because when they go into the seminary schools, they weren't being taught this because then they could go out and empower people. So the prophet brought this message to us so that we could really be the strength of Allah made manifest. And Jesus, right, was called to be a demonstrator of spiritual power and truth, but actually each of us has that potential. So he said we will do the things he's done because each of us has the potential to transform our lives, our character, and doing it, by living with divine purpose. And by doing that, we uplift humanity, right? Fallen humanity by living, by being the truth, being living examples of the truth. So as we apply these lessons, now we elevate our consciousness and then we inspire others to do the same. So we have to fulfill our divine mission as sons and daughters of Allah. And this is why the prophet brought us Islam. And this is why we can't skip around it. There's no way we can skip around it. If you coming in like, yeah, I want to do this and that, that's cool and all. But if you're not trying to get with this Islam, there's a problem. I ain't trying to do nothing with you. Don't even really want to be around you because that's a problem. You choosing lower self over aligning with your higher self. And that's where, we have to cut it off. All right? Because we already live in that. We already surrounded by lower self. We got plenty of that. There's enough of that in the world, right? So yeah, we have to come in and do this work on ourselves because we do have to come in and do that work on our lower selves because we're not trying to just copy, paste, repeat what we see being done in the world right now. It's not good enough. And so, on that note, Moors, I yield the floor. If there are any questions or comments, Moors, please feel free to speak. And on that note, I yield the floor.
Islam Grand Sheikh. I like to rise and give Allah the highest of praise, and I extend honors to all the Moors on the call. And so basically, I had a couple of comments on this chapter because you said to look at it in a deeper manner. And so what I got from this is that when you go down to let me see what verse is that when you go down to like verse 12 when it says the Roman soldiers pierced my hands and my feet with nails, and then one pierced my heart. And so what I took from verse 12 going into a deeper version is that the Roman soldiers actually represents like the trials and tribulations that we go against in our life. And basically what it is that the Roman soldiers, which is being ourselves, basically went against our love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And so you got to notice that there's 5 parts that the Roman soldiers are attacked. And so basically when they attack each part of those in the heart being the last one that they attacked, then after that, which could be something like that is like extremely dear to us. But after they did that, then, said Jesus arose. And so I take that part and I take it also to go when he said that he conquered death, I take that to go to chapter 4, verse 3. And it says, let me see here, chapter 4, verse, let me see, 1 second. All right, yeah, I'm almost there. Yeah. And so chapter 4, verse 3, it says, death is no enemy of man. it is a friend whom, when work of life is done, just cuts the cord and binds the human boat to earth, that it may sail on smoother seas. But see, in Jesus' situation, he actually, mastered everything and became Allah manifested. So with that, he was able to come back and forth because he said he can transverse the borderline at will. And that's what I got from that. And there's one more thing that I got from here, from this verse here. Hold on 1 second. Let me see here. And also too, what I was also got too, I take far as like, everything that we deal with is dealing with the East. And so in a sense, I take the East as being Allah in a sense, because when we how they say that man must face himself. And so when we stand up and do our prayers, we face the East and we put up our 7 fingers, and we face the East with that. And so in a sense, we kind of like facing ourselves to become ourselves, because we got to learn ourselves. And also the empty seat could also represent that the seat that was there that was empty that Jesus sat in. Actually, that could represent that when our work is done, we sit in that empty seat, because basically when you work real hard and your work is done, you sit down. And so basically after all your work is done, because he did all that work and he was done, so he sat down in that chair, that empty chair with that seat. And there's also with the 3 guys of wisdom. And that's basically what I get from that chapter. And with that, I give up the mic.
Islam, more gratitude for demonstrating. Appreciate you, brother. Islam. All right. I see you, brother Yabe. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islamism. First, I would like to rise giving all perfect praises to our Father God Allah. I'd like to give honors to Prophet Noble Ali for bringing us the Holy Gospel. I would like to give honors to Marcus Messiah Garvey. I would like to give honors to you, Grand Sheep. I would like to give honors to your grand body. I would like to give honors to every more on the call, Islamism. I want to thank the brother for just speaking, because this was one of the points that hit me to wake me up today while I'm actually listening. So I was breaking down a whole lot dealing with this chapter, but I kind of want to make it really sweet and straight to the point, so I won't drag on. I want to go right back to what he was talking about, because as he was speaking it, I can envision what is going on right in that same line, that same verse. It says the Roman soldiers pierced my hands, right? And I was looking at it like the hands. So by us, and when we in black, right? We chose Christianity over Islamism, right? So dealing with that from a Christian point of view, our hands, right, having nails and it being pierced, that is our finances, our money. That is our ways of making money. Being under black, being under property, you're being taxed. You never see money. You don't even realize this is what's going on. Your feet is being pierced. That's the thought of you being brought here. You not having the understanding that where you at, how to move, to even take care of yourself, and having that one piercing in the heart, boom, that right there is having your religion taken away from you. Following after those gods of Europe that you know nothing of. This is what I see that the Roman soldiers did. But see, when we get resurrected, that is coming into Islamism. We died in Christianity. We gave that back. Then we rising, right? We rising with the understanding this is Islam. And we get all of these things that was reinstated by the prophet bringing us this message. So thank you, brother, for bringing that to me. I appreciate it. Islamism, and thank you for the floor.
Islam, brother. And once again, gratitude to you both for sharing and speaking on that. And everything you're saying makes perfect sense. It definitely, I could see that, like how it applies to us, and how it applies to us now going back in the right direction to undo all of the things that were done, to get us in the state that we're in. But remember, too, All of the stuff we've gone through has just been so that we can demonstrate the strength of Allah. They were just challenges. And if we wouldn't have those challenges if we're not able to overcome it. And when we overcome it, we demonstrate to the whole world. The whole world now sees this as a possibility because we turned it around. And that's how come the foolishness and the ignorance that we're doing, that also has to be played out to the world. That's why they see all of this foolish stuff, right? All the ignorance, all that stuff gets blasted around the world to people who don't even speak English. They see all the foolishness and the ignorance and the crime and negativity and all that stuff. So that when we turn it around, then they can say, oh, whatever they're doing, we need to listen. Islam, I yield the floor. If anyone else has any questions or comments, please feel free to speak.
Yeah, Islam Grant, she got re-rise. And so my question is slightly off topic. So this goes back kind of to what we were talking about earlier in the chat earlier. So, you know what I'm saying? I wanted you to basically get like would this be like what we're talking about now, be like a sample of what Moorish science is? Because you had mentioned that, and you know what I'm saying, that little statement that you gave when you gave a shout out for the meeting. And so you can like kind of like explain what exactly like what the Moorish science is, and somewhat kind of like Islamism, because I know they must meet somewhere together in the middle. And with that, I give up the mic because I kind of believe like this is kind of like like more science, but I never got told exactly what more science mean. But I kind of like have like a idea of what it may mean. And with that, I give up the mic.
All right, Islam. Yeah, so I would love to read something from Brother Sheikh R. Edward Zell. He wrote about more science, but apparently I don't have it anywhere near me. I'm just gonna just give a real quick answer to that, right? So because what he spoke about more science really made a lot of sense to me. It I resonated, and so for the most part, more science is a philosophy, right? And if we look up the definition of philosophy, just so that we all are in understanding what what I'm trying to say, right? So philosophy, just one example. I think this is from the Oxford Dictionary: the study of the fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence, especially when considered as an academic discipline. A particular system of philosophical thought, right? So it's really like a way of um, explaining our existence, a way of understanding our existence. And so more science is a philosophy. And the reason why the prophet, established the Moorish Science Temple of America, now, even though he has a message that's universal, he's obviously one of us, came from amongst us, dealt with the stuff we were going through at the time in the 1920s, with conditions may have been a little more harsh than they are now. So he understood deeply what we were going through. And so this was set up to help us undo the conditions that we're in, right? So this philosophy gets us out from up under this European mindset that we have, right? That was created to keep us in a lower status, at the bottom of the caste system, right? We were being brought up and conditioned to remain at the bottom of the caste system. And the more science, this philosophy undoes that for us. It lifts the shackles off our mind, right? It empowers us. And we understand, okay, who we actually are. We have something more to attain to, right? It takes care of all of those issues that we have if we actually come in, if we actually buy in. It takes care of all of these things that we have. And Islam, all of that stuff falls up in it too. Because obviously Islam is described by the prophet is something that we must come into for our earthly and divine salvation. Why? Because for us coming into Islam, right, we're understanding our true nature, that we're connected to Allah, we're one with Allah. So now that we can clean ourselves up, purify ourselves, and now begin to be upstanding men and women and children, right? So it all goes together. But you know, it's Moorish science isn't our religion. It's a philosophy. It's a way of thought. Islam.
Islam Grand Sheikh. Okay, I completely understand and thanks for that. Okay.
Islam. Are there any other questions or comments, Morris? Okay, if there are no further questions or comments, we're going to go into the closing of the meeting. Let us go ahead and read our divine warning. A divine warning by the prophet for the nations. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind, to their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights, unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know the law in the city hall and among the officials in your government, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship, by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro deludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word colored deludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners, who were at that time without power, with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was in force since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So, there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come. Because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people, and this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, disease, etc. And I, the prophet, do hear and believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with the divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way, and without understanding they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavorment in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fought the Southerner for all these great misuses, but I have traveled in the South and have examined conditions there, and it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light. From the prophet. All right, Islam Moors, we're going to go ahead and close this meeting out. Before I do so, just want to put the call out there for any new members, anyone who would like to join and proclaim your nationality. If you don't want to speak up right now, it's all good. You can always go to the website, MoorishAmericans.com. If you go there, you can just use that contact button to reach out to us, and you can send you can call us, or you could just send a message on that form. Okay, and also for anyone that would like to assist us in the great work of uplifting fallen humanity, please send a donation to the temple. Just scroll down to the bottom of the website and use that donate button to send a donation to the temple. And on that note, Moors, All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I want to ask everyone to stand and face the east as we recite the closing prayer. We stand facing the east with our heads together, feet at a 45-degree angle, holding up 2 fingers on the right, 5 on the left. Do not need to repeat after me. Allah, bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. We ask this in thy holy name and the 7 Elohim. Amen. Islam, peace and love, Moors. This meeting is now adjourned.
Islam, happy holiday, family. To all of the new people on the call, if you want to hang back, and we're going to talk to you after this meeting, so don't log off, Islam.
Islam, happy holy day, Muslims.
Happy holiday, family.
Happy holiday.
Holiday, sis.
Happy holiday.
Happy holiday.
Islam, happy holiday.
Happy holiday, family. Islam, Brother Dante, and Brother Taquan. Islam, y'all still on the line?
Yeah, this Dante, I'm here.
All right, peace, brother. If you remember our call earlier, I'm gonna get some information from you so that we're gonna send you out an email.
Okay. You want me to type the email in the chat?
That'll be great, actually, yes. And did you have any more questions about?
No, I just really, I really was looking for information on how to join.
Yes, I remember.
And
Yep.
claim nationality. That was all.
Okay. So how'd you like the meeting this evening?
It was informative.
Excellent, excellent. So you know what this is really about? It's about uplifting ourselves so that we could, you know, live better quality lives and uplift, you know, our family and everybody else in our community. We got to be that example, but first we got to work on ourselves, or you know, we can't lead nobody else. But that's what this really is about. The prophet came, he gave us everything we needed to save ourselves, Islam. So while we saving ourselves, we have to understand who we are, where we come from, and what happened to our people. That's huge because a lot has happened to us to put us in this state of mind and you know in this this caste system that we're in. So what we're doing is putting in the work to get us out of those, you know, those bondages physically and mentally. So,
right.
So as long as you with that, you with the prophet, and you know we're gonna be building together on that.
Okay. I put my email in the chat. My name. I don't know. Do you need my number too?
We got your number.
Okay.
Yep. Gratitude.
All right. Well, I'm driving now, so I can't look at the email. But as soon as I get situated, I'm going to dive in. And
Okay. Well, you safe travels, brother, and hopefully we'll see you on the 24th here in Columbus.
okay.
And we're gonna send you all that information also.
With the location and stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna send you the flyer. We're gonna send you the flyer to your email, and then we're gonna send you the registration information for you to join and proclaim your nationality.
Okay, sounds good.
Islam. And for Brother Taquan, are you still on here, family?
Do you need anything else from me before I go?
Nope, you're good. You're perfect, brother.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
My pleasure. Peace and love.
All right, peace.
Islam, can you also put your email in the chat so that we could also send you, the information? Were you also looking to proclaim your nationality, or were you just attending a meeting to see, to see what the temple and the information is all about? Islam, wonderful. So we're also gonna send you the same information, and as soon as you look over it, you have any questions, you let us know. Now, are you also here in Columbus, brother? You can unmute your mic if you rather talk instead of type.
Islam, can you hear me?
Islam, yep, loud and clear.
Well, I'm currently at work right now. So it's
Okay.
all right, but yes, I mean, I've been following with you guys for a while now. I mean, when you first at the library off of Hamilton, I was coming out there and everything as well. Just had a lot of things happen within life and everything that got me sidetracked. So I'm trying to get back on and trying to become a member, of the temple here in Columbus as well.
Islam, praise Allah. Well, glad to have you back in the fold, brother. We're gonna send you that information in your email, and if you have any questions, definitely reach out, and hopefully we'll be able to see you again at the library here in Reynoldsburg Sunday the 24th, and we're gonna send you that
Okay,
flyer
great.
too. And that's actually a community event that we're gonna be feeding members of the community. So definitely
Okay.
make plans to be there if possible.
No problem. No problem. Definitely look forward to being there.
Islam. Well, you have a great evening, brother. Peace and love. And we'll talk
All
soon.
right, Islam.
Islam.
Islam, you too.
Islam, brother Jackson Bay, do you have any questions or comments? All right, got this. You good?